Brand new issue threatening the U.S. housing market. Hey everybody, Scott Walters. Buckle up and strap in. I got a hard-hitting pull, no punches, no sugarcoating it, no rainbows or sunshine. I'm just going to give it to you and give it to you straight, friends. We got another brand new issue. If you haven't noticed, I mean, take your pick. I always say it's like throwing a dart at a map. You're going to hit an issue, my friends. It is not rainbows and sunshine. This time is not different from the last bubble. This thing, the only thing different, it's worse. Bigger bubble, bigger blowback. And this is way worse than what people were perceived the last bubble to be the culprit, which we're not even sure if it really was. Loose lending, people getting into some loans that they maybe shouldn't have. That wasn't the problem. That was a symptom of the problem, possibly a narrative. But the realities are, and we know this, if you're new, subscribe, like right away, yesterday. There's never been a more important time in history centered and surrounded with like-minded people. Iron will sharpen iron, friends. We're sharpening some iron today. I can guarantee you that. The realities are every single time, and I say this a lot, and I know you guys that watch the channel a lot hear me say a lot of things over and over because I'm driving these points home. We have to beat these realities into our psyche so we can wrap our head around what's about to visit us. Every time the U.S. housing market exhibits bubble behavior, they crash 100% of the time. But in the last bubble, I remember it was very similar. In the last bubble, we're about at the area we are at now, with a lot of areas of the country starting to show price reductions. Maybe even it's a good time to buy narratives. Maybe even interest rates are relatively low still. But you see, people don't want to catch a falling knife. And there's a few safeguards we always talk about if and when buying property. Just examine the property's rent range and make sure your payment's under it, and you have a much better chance of surviving a storm. You'll sleep better at night knowing your house will rent out for its payment. Most people, as an agent myself, I rarely hear that come out of people's mouth. Only my investors, people that are looking for investment properties, which right now I'm selling a lot more of those than first-time home buyers. It's investors looking for a safe haven, get their money out of the money markets because they know the stock market's teetering on a razor's edge too. So if you can get a property, just cash flow and store your wealth in that, good. And that's why I continue, like we say this, a lot of the things that we look at. I continue to do my best to show properties. Hey, this is what our payment would be basically right now with 20% down at today's interest rate. And this is how much it would cash flow. And you don't even have to put 20% down on a lot of these properties. You can get away with 10% down. And they'll still cash flow. Every property has to be examined specifically, individually. Every seller is going to have a different level of motivation. That's what I always talk about. Examine how many days on market, how many price reductions. Are they still stuck on the market and unwilling to pull their listing? Well, then they're probably motivated. Let's throw them an offer after we examine to see where the property would cash flow at if it was a rental property, even if it's not. Smart thing to use. But when I see a report now, as we're seeing now, we added 500,000 jobs to the job market. Yeah, well, they're all at In-N-Out Burger, Home Depot, Starbucks, the service sector, the people that were shut down, stifled during the lockdown environment. And who benefited in the lockdown environment? The tech industry. What are they doing right now? Throwing people overboard. And what did a lot of the tech industry workers do? They bought homes away from the office because they thought they were going to telecommute forever. The first rug pull is they pulled them back to the office. The second one, they laid them off. This is insane. So when you see now tech workers getting laid off, but you're seeing advertisements, we're hiring at In-N-Out, there's a problem, my friends, because guess what? It's just a ticking clock. Right now, those people getting laid off are homeowners. And many bought in the height of the super bubble. They bought at the height. And they didn't stop there, like I always say. They went above and beyond appraised values. They're way up here. They are underwater right now. They no longer own their homes. Their homes own them. And here's the challenge. As a salesman, as a trained salesman, as an experienced salesman, as somebody that's lived through the last housing bubble, and when I sell houses, see, the old Scott would be like, let's get him to fall in love with the house. Let's get him to fall in love with this house because then we got him. They fell in love with finishes or just FOMO itself, herd mentality. And it's going to be very hard for them to accept their situation because they put so much pressure to buy the house, borrowed money from mom and dad, depleted their investment accounts, did all kinds of things. The wealth effect made them feel wealthy. They thought they could. The rug pull, their gas bill alone, heat the house, fill up the car, massive problem. They were already hanging on by their fingernails. So when I see tech workers now having to take 2 blue-collar jobs and still not able to keep up with their cost of living, that's a big problem. I hope you understand that. I think people, it's not a problem until it's a problem. Right now, it's just news. But eventually, it's going to be a problem. That's why I think it's so important for us to be forward thinkers, critical thinkers, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, come out somewhere in the middle. Don't be a deer in the headlights when this thing plays out. Insulate ourselves the best of our ability. Hopefully muster the strength to not get swept into fear and panic and go out. It's very select few that went out there and bought after the last crash. And I was like, it's really interesting to hear from, because I'm like, man, that was probably hard, right? You're buying at the bottom of a rental or a housing collapse when everybody's full of fear and panic, hanging on by their fingernails. You went and bought in that, yeah. Now that property's cashing hard. It's like a cash register every month that just spits out $100 bills at us. Insane. That's what I really want for people. Now, personally, like I said, today what I do with my clients is they say, hey, listen, this is a housing bubble. It's probably not going to sustain itself. We need to look at a couple things first, like what's your cost to own versus what's its rent range. And I would like to also not get you overpaying for these houses, getting into a bidding war. In fact, right now we can throw an offer. So we're going to look at properties today, but don't fall in love with anything, because we might have to test the waters with an offer that will get rejected. But if you fall in love with the house, we're going to get into negotiations, and they're just going to get you up to their price through negotiations. Are you ready to walk away from a house if we can't make your offer stick? Yes, Scott, I trust you. Okay, great. Let's go play ball out there right now. That's what's going on. But like I said, friends, when I see reports that the white-collar wage earner tech industry people are now taking jobs, blue-collar jobs, it's what happened in the last bubble. It's happening again. This is a bigger bubble. So anybody wanting to minimize the severity of the bubble we're walking in now, you might want to think twice. I mean, this thing has crash written all over it. Nobody has a crystal ball, but we do have historical data to pull from. And every single time we've had a housing boom, it's always been followed by a housing bust. This one was very artificial in nature, though. I mean, this was market manipulation through and through on many, many levels. We got the whole global economy in a big, big bubble, and every first world country experienced an overheated housing market, and many of these same countries, in fact, if not all, are experiencing the same thing. The air is coming out of the bubble. Of course it couldn't sustain itself. People suffer from short-term memory loss. The people that lived through that last crisis drank the Kool-Aid in this one. Luckily, a few of us rang the bell, sounding the alarm, and let people know, like, hey, listen, this is probably the time to play it safe. This is exhibiting bubble behavior. And many of you heeded to the warning, and at least many of you now that have heeded to the warning are in a position now where maybe they're a little insulated. So if and when this thing plays out, you can reevaluate your finances and see if there's investment opportunity for you. Final thoughts. I come to you as a friend, as a content creator. Somebody wants to see you not only win in real estate, win in life. Understanding the biggest artificially created housing bubble ever produced in world history is in fact reversing course. We're seeing a lot of people now lose their jobs in those white-collar wage earner industries, forced to take blue-collar jobs, and in many cases too. The job numbers aren't the job numbers that we need to save the housing market. They're just service sector jobs that are lingering around. White-collar jobs are on their way out. They're going to continue to do that, and it's probably going to take a big bite out of this housing apple. I'm going to continue to blow the lid off it every step of the way, because it's not only what we need, it's in fact what we deserve. If you appreciate the content, I want to humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Social media links in the description of this video if you'd like to contact me there. along with links to channels I've appeared on I think you might enjoy. If you need help buying or selling real estate here in America, I have the biggest network of top-rated agents in the nation ready to assist you. It'd be our honor and our privilege to do so. Email in the description for you as well. Also, if you're watching from your television set today and you enjoyed this video, I think you're going to love the next video. And there's an easy subscribe icon for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time. Please go make it count today. We'll see you on the next video.